Okay, we're live. Hi, everybody on CNY Facebook and Fertile Spirit Facebook. I am Danielle. I am the director of the Fertile Spirit Patient Support Program at CNY, where we do coaching one-on-one and group, where we help people through their fertility journey with a whole range of specialists. And I'm joined by...
Hi there, I'm Erin McCullough. I'm the founder of Fertile Hope Yoga, which is kind of like a sister outgrowth of a program I used to run in person in the Rochester CNY fertility office for over a decade and brought it online so we could help and anyone, anywhere. And collectively, Danielle and I are here tonight to answer all questions related to hope, mindset, meditation, movement, problem solving, the emotional, anything emotional, mental, all those things that come up along the way that, your doctor usually doesn't address. So we're like the other half of the equation, I suppose.
Yeah. What we're doing, Erin and I are going to be here the second Thursday of each month answering your questions. So throughout the month, you can send them to us. And we will answer them anonymously. And so we're here. Erin has a few of those questions from this last month that we're going to address here now. And then we're actually going to jump to Instagram after this to keep going and answer more questions. I just want to shout out, I see Elizabeth. She has her transfer on Saturday in Albany, which sounds like you're anxious, and I feel you. And I also always think about the coin that with anxiety and excitement, that they're like two sides of the same coin. So just kind of leaning into both sides of that feeling of the excitement around it too, and the possibility and the potential. But I also understand the anxiety for sure.
Yeah. Some breathing, staying in the moment. You've got this. Elizabeth, you've got this. Super anxious. It's normal. It's normal, like Danielle's talking about, to feel that anxiety. You're about to do something really big and really cool. And, of course, there's no guarantees, right? So if there was, this would be different, but there's not. So you're just know that you're doing your best with what you have in this moment, and go for it.
And some somatic stuff you can do, like placing a hand on your belly, a hand on your heart, noticing your breath, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, and taking a longer exhale just to kind of slow things down. Because when we get anxious like this, it's really staying connected with your body and reminding your body that it's safe, that it's healthy, that it's working hard for you, and just really, really taking it easy and using your breath. That's a huge piece of this.
Yeah. Elizabeth, are you is it a fresh transfer? She said we shared our eggs with another couple. We got 12 and we kept 6. And 2 made it, so it's more, yeah. Obviously we helped someone else. Yeah. You get all your choices. Yeah. Well, good for you. That's awesome. That's really, really special way to do this. Yeah, for sure.
Story. We're rooting for you, and we understand the anxiety around it, but we're also feeling the excitement of the possibility for you. And what a beautiful thing you did. Yeah.
Awesome. Elizabeth, I also have, if you want, if you go to fertilehopeyoga.com, you can join my program for 2 weeks for free. And there's all kinds of meditations and yoga practices that are cycle specific. So they would support you on day of transfer, up until transfer, all the way through your pregnancy. So if you want to do that, it won't last probably that long, but 2 weeks, you have 2 weeks at least. So that will get you almost to your blood test.
Great.
Maybe it would, yeah.
And then Jamie Lynn, your consultation is tomorrow, and that is super exciting. I hope you have all your questions ready. Whenever I go to the doctor, I always make a little list on my phone or something of all my things. But that's really, really exciting. You'll find out about what the next steps are. Yeah. So Well, Erin, do you want to get to some of these questions?
Sure. Okay. So first one, my biggest challenge is my discouragement and blaming myself for not getting pregnant. I have an almost 2-year-old who is beautiful and the light of my life, and my conception for her was difficult. I'm finding myself in the same headspace. Yeah. So that's a tough one. It's so easy in this process, especially when you're encountering challenges, to blame ourselves, to get down on ourselves, to talk to ourselves, to almost like beat ourselves up, not honor what our bodies are doing for ourselves. So I would say, honestly, that's kind of more the norm than actually looking to how are you going to turn that around, right? So if you know this is nobody's fault, right? It's something that is, and it's something to deal with, and your coping then becomes like, how can you talk to yourself gently? How can you offer nourishment to yourself? How can you what can you do now that is going to be productive to help you take steps forward, instead of kind of like that stuck cycle of blame and kind of that, talking to yourself in a way that's really not going to be helpful or productive. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's so tough. I mean, the stories that we tell ourselves and about our lives and about the world carry so much weight. And so I always think it's really, really important to like realize that you have agency and control and power in the stories that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
And so if you think it's your fault, I mean, can you know that that's true? Right. And to just really like look at the possibility of, the opposite, the inverse of that thought, that it's not, that it's possible that there are so many other factors here at play. And I'm sure you consider that. I would imagine that anyone would too. But when you get stuck in that story, how does it limit you? And that those beliefs that we have, they end up, it's like I say sometimes, it's almost like the filter, like if we're wearing sunglasses and then we put a lens through it, and the lens of that story is like, it's my fault. You start seeing everything through that lens, and that affects how you feel about yourself, how you move through the day, how you take care of yourself. So maybe sometimes it's imagining that you have a fresh new pair of glasses with like a clear lens. So that can be one helpful kind of visualization that you can do.
Yeah. And I like obviously, for Hope Yoga, we like movement as a way to kind of get some of that stuck energy, those low vibrations out of your body, and to transform them is like just peeling off layers through movement, through yoga. And so sometimes to find that clarity that Danielle is talking about, a different lens, a lens that actually allows you to, go from talking negatively to yourself, blame yourself, to basically celebrating what your body has done for you. You have a beautiful daughter already, right? Mm-hmm. Your body did that. Mm-hmm. And honoring that, even though it's difficult and things are challenging, that's not you innately, right? Your spirit, who you are, is perfect. And how we're going to help and support your body to illuminate that is through meditation, yoga, all the things, just even talking about it today.
Another thing, Erin, what you said, like really when you're starting to feel negative about yourself, finding things, even if they're not directly related to that thing, but finding the things within you that you've accomplished, that you've done, that you love about yourself, and just spending some time making almost a gratitude list about those things, to put some energy into those things, because it's true. Like, your body gave you this gorgeous 2-year-old baby that you have, right? Your body did that for you. From a psychological perspective, something that we often do when we don't have control over things outside of us is we blame ourselves. And this is why, like, when a 5-year-old's parents are getting divorced, the 5-year-old will think, oh my God, if I had just cleaned up my room, if I just didn't yell, or, the 5-year-old will internalize the experience as that it was something that was wrong with them. And that's what we do as human beings. When we don't have control over the outside, it's almost easier for us to think that it's us, that we caused it. So similarly with this journey, it's like, yeah, to some extent, right? It is out of our control, and that feels scary. And the thing that can make it feel like it's more in our power is to think that it has something directly to do with something we've done, and we cannot know that. Just know that that's the tendency of the human mind. And maybe that takes some of the power off of it.
Yeah.
So I know we have these questions, but I'm just loving Elizabeth's share, and I wanted to read what she wrote. Even as an LGBTQ family, we still have thoughts of fault for the need for assistance to get pregnant. It's normal to take on more than is truly your responsibility, especially women, and it's actually almost egotistical to believe we have so much control and power as to be completely responsible for everything negative in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we can even look at all, like, if we, talking about belief systems, like Danielle was talking about, if we take on the belief that everything presented to us in our life is a chance for growth and learning and opportunity, that is an opportunity for those things, then that in itself, that belief in itself, then is empowering to kind of look for those things and look for those nuggets, look for the gifts, look for the gratitudes, look for all those things that are there. Just as much as the challenges are there, all those other things are there too. It's a matter of what we want to focus on and where we are focusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really, I'm glad you said that, Elizabeth.
And also just speaking to what you said about, like, even though as an LGBTQ family, we still have thoughts of the fault of, that it's our fault for needing assistance. And I know that consciously you don't think that, but I'm sure I'm not saying anything that, you're not aware of, Elizabeth, but it's like so much of this is cultural, like with all of this stuff, right? Like the kind of stigma around infertility. I don't even like the word infertility, but the stigma around fertility or infertility is cultural. The stigma around needing help is something that we don't really live in a deeply held community. And so asking for help is something that feels really foreign, and it makes us really vulnerable. And so just to even recognize that, just to even name it, just to even say it out loud, so that it doesn't have so much power over us is a huge act.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is a big burden that we have. We're carrying a lot. We are carrying a lot. I'm very curious to see, this is like a whole other topic, but I'm very curious to see how our culture, how things play out between the sexes and beyond, like over these next couple of generations, because it's definitely a time of great shifting and changing and evolving. And so that will be interesting.
Yeah. But one thing, even though it's a lot, it's also lighter and doesn't feel as much when you are in community with other women, which is why at Fertile, like, part of the program at Fertile Hope Yoga is the community. Because what I know is that by being in connection, in community, in communion, being in that place where we're able to learn and grow together, it can turn that feeling of heaviness into lightness, and almost makes it like Like
Mm-hmm.
people have told me like, this is like the best club. I never wanted to join, right? Because it's like this, on paper, nobody's wants to sign up for, fertility challenges or even like needing, like Elizabeth, right? If you didn't have to get assistance to get pregnant, you wouldn't necessarily choose that, right? Like no one's choosing, oh, let's call a fertility clinic. Like no one's doing that. So, but when you have this thing that becomes like this, way to bond, now you can and share those experiences. It's like becomes, I don't know, something like will bond you forever. And all of a sudden now you're in community, and it makes a huge, huge, huge difference. So anyone who's, and Facebook groups, just scrolling on the internet does not count.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's not yes, it can relieve potentially some, it can make you feel normal in some ways and things like that. But it's not the same as being committed in community with a group of women to, help each other through it.
Yeah. And to that, oh, sorry, Erin.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, to your point that, there's a real physiological reason for that. Like there's a real physiological reason for why this healing happens in connection. And it's because we have mirror neurons, right? So like when I'm actually saying something and I'm seeing how your face responds to me, and I'm hearing your voice, and I'm hearing the empathy in it, or the curiosity in it, or the excitement in it, it's like, it literally changes like the pathways in our brain. And it's very real. Yeah. It's not the same as scrolling. And
thank you for saying that. I love all the science. Like, I feel like I need to go back to school just to learn all like the brain. It's so fascinating, because it's like, it gives depth and kind of understanding to what maybe we intuitively know, but it's just so cool to have both things come together. So thanks for sharing that. I love that so much.
I think it gives us a lot of power to understand the physiology and the psychology behind these things, right? Like,
and in more indigenous cultures, and particularly everywhere, pretty much besides the United States, like talking about cultural stuff, right? Like, all women get together for so many rituals and transitions and seasons of their life, right? It's just like part of the norm, part of the culture. It just, a lot of in the US, like it has to be, it's so intentional and almost like foreign to do that. But once you realize the power of that, really, there's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
Yulia, you can go to fertilehopeyoga.com and you can join for 2 weeks for free. And it's all online. Yes, all online now. And then Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth said, obviously, we intellectually know that there really was no choice in being a lesbian and needing fertility treatment to build our family. But the fact is, unlike others with infertility, we hypothetically could conceive naturally. So there's the unspoken, though, that we are making a choice to suffer through fertility treatment. Obviously, that's not true, but feelings aren't fact. Yes, feelings are not fact. Boom. Yeah. Elizabeth.
I know. Elizabeth is like co-hosting with us today.
I know. We should bring her up.
Yeah, and I think that's, I mean, bringing in more of that, LGBTQ perspective too, because it is a particular perspective and specific journey, that you're on. And so I know it's multifaceted and layered, and and we want to be there to support everybody through this, with whatever our backgrounds are. And when I say backgrounds, I mean like everything that has led each of us from the time we were little tiny people to now to be in this journey, and how all of those experiences and memories have affected us, and how those things that affect the way that we process the information that we get, how those experiences we've had in the past of maybe not having control or feeling anxious, how they have shaped us as people, and to really use this journey as an opportunity to become more conscious, become more aware, to get embodied through yoga, through meditation, through community, through these conversations, to really grow as people, to understand ourselves better. And then ultimately we become better parents at the end of the day too. So I just like to keep that perspective. There's a long game here, and we have to kind of step back and have a bigger, broader perspective on it. So
yeah, well, that's what we're here to help everyone do, right?
yes. And you know, you guys, if you're listening to this right now, or you're listening to this 2 weeks from now, or whatever, there is a beautiful community here through CNY and beyond, and people like Erin and myself are here to support you and help you and help realign you if you lose your perspective, or your faith or your hope. You're not alone in this, and there's so much beautiful work that can be done through the process. So we are here. Yeah, I think we're going to head over to Instagram and answer the rest of our questions, but thanks, you guys.
Yes, so if you guys want to follow Jumpo, we're going to be on the CNY Fertility Instagram next.
Okay, see you guys soon. Bye. All right.